Hello and welcome to another Gentle Yoga with Gayle Stone. Remember, take things at your own pace, and in yoga we never work in pain. So if you've got some soft music and maybe a towel or a pillow, find yourself a nice calm little spot and we'll just have a little bit of a go. So I'm starting off seated in cross legs. And this may not suit you. So see if you can maybe put a bolster under the hips, bring them up a little bit higher, or maybe even kneeling or legs straight out the front of you. All we're doing is taking some deep breaths in and swaying gently from side to side. A nice little cue is each time you lift up or you make a move, think about breathing in. Each time you come out of that move or you move downwards, think about breathing out. Now all this does is regulate your breath. Breathing in a bit and breathing out a bit. A few more breaths like that. Don't worry if you lose pace and you breathe in when you're supposed to be breathing out. It's just a way of slowing down the breath. Breathing in and up. Breathing out and down. Got a few challenges for you today. This is a bit about using the back and using some of the core muscles. Maybe not in a way that would be familiar to you. If you've never tried yoga before, just remember, go at your own pace and you know your body. So we don't ever work in pain. Yoga is about slowing down a little bit and noticing what works best for you. And I'll be showing you some alternatives as we go through. Breathing in, lifting up. Breathing out, relaxing down. So if you've started off with shoes or socks on, maybe you need to take them off, find a bit more comfort. Now I've straightened out one leg, which is unfortunately off the video. I've got one foot bent in towards the groin, one leg out straight. Breathing in and up, breathing out and down. You can see I'm not forcing anything. I'm just going wherever my body wants to go. I'm still on my little block. One leg straight, one leg bent, coming over to the other side now. Breathing in and up, breathing out and down. You may not go as far as you think you ought to. And that's okay. That is one of the challenges in yoga. What we're doing here is a little stretch on the back of the legs, the back of the low back, but we're also playing with the movement of the pelvis. Here I am on my little green block, just coming down now. So a wide forward fold, we call this turtle pose. I've really got my knees bent, and what that allows me to do is to keep the top of the pelvis pushed up and gently forward. And then I can breathe out, relax the chin downward and get that lovely forward fold, bit of a stretch in the back. I've got my yoga socks on today. Got little sticky bits on the bottom of the socks. You may not have any socks on at all. As long as you feel like you're not going to slip. We've just come into a bit of a down dog here, and I'm walking the dog, just lifting one heel at a time, and now I'm up to lifting 2 heels, getting a lovely stretch right up on the top of the toes. This should feel really nice, really comfortable. I've got a soft bend behind the knees, breathing out, lowering the knees down, untucking toes, and coming into your version of child's pose. And this might be a bit tough on the knees or the hips. Simply leave the hips up. Come back as far as feels good for you and for your body today. So come to standing. Take your time. Knees softly bent. Tuck the tummy in and breathing in and lifting up. Now you may not have a block to work with. Maybe a book will do, or maybe a pillow, maybe even a folded up towel. What I'm doing is gently squeezing the block. It's not a really tight, crunchy sort of a squeeze. It's just allowing me to tune in on the inner thighs working. Shoulders back, thumbs up. And as I breathe in, I'm lifting my heels, and as I breathe out, I'm coming down a little bit into chair pose. Breathe in, lift up. Breathing out, heels down, knees pointing straight ahead, pushing the hips back. Try a few more at your pace. Breathing in and up. Lift the heels, find your balance. Breathing out. Come down and find your chair. Breathing in. Balance. And breathing out. Now I've come off of my mat just to show you that sometimes the mat is not a really good supportive space to be working in balance. I've got a lovely wooden deck there, and so it feels quite comfortable. I can get more of a grip with my toes. My feet can feel where my body is. I'm coming up and down on the heels again. Coming into chair pose, but look at the difference. This time, hands behind the back. Find a little bit of a forward fold, tummy in and breathing in and up. So just a slight change with the hands behind the back and finding that little transfer between chair and standing tall. Breathing out, chair first. Forward fold, and start to breathe in and lifting up and then up on the toes. With the hands behind your back, see if you can clasp those fingers and squeeze the tips on the back of the hand. That's going to add some strength. And this may not suit you. And so maybe just threading the fingers, or even maybe just having the hands out and back as far as you can, thumbs up. You're still going to get that lovely shoulders rolling back feel. Notice how my back is still fairly straight. I've got the natural curves in there, but I'm not curled over. Breathe in lift, come up on your toes. Let's see if we've got one more. Slowly, slowly guiding your way down. And if it feels okay, if it feels safe, you might want to try it with your eyes closed. It will definitely affect your balance. Work with your core muscles. Come on up, have a little bit of a shake through. So inside thigh gently switching on, core muscles gently switching on as they do anytime we come into balance. Place that cushion, maybe the towel or maybe a block. And coming up to the front of the feet, the balls of the feet. Notice that you can't even see that I've lifted my heels. I'm not going for height. I'm going for balance. So a little bit of diver's pose here. Staying down a lot longer than what we were just before. Lifting the arms, working the upper back. Keep the heels up, lift up. Gently lower the heels. Take a breath in and rest your hands at your heart space when you're done. Come and find a nice forward fold and see where your body wants to go with this one. Coming down to all fours and place that block between the heels. We're coming into a warrior pose. Now you may not need the block. Just make sure that the heel's on the outside of the hips. Breathe in, lift up. Breathe out and come to cactus arms. Pull those elbows down and try that again. If this is too much on the front of the ankles, just place a nice rolled up towel under there and then come back and have a few more breaths with me. Maybe this is too much on the knees. That means you'll need to have those hips up a little higher. Keep working with your body, tending to what you need today. And then when you feel safe, when you feel comfortable, that's when we work. So we're coming into another pose now, melting heart. This is very similar to child's pose, but look at the difference. I've tucked my toes in and my hips are up, knees directly under the hips. If you look at my back now, I'm starting to find a gentle back arch. Now my back doesn't like arching too much, so this is about as far as I feel comfortable with. But if you enjoy a back arch, if standing feels good for you, then you might want to really enjoy this space. Speaking of space, I'm about to run out. You can see that couch behind me. So have a look again. I'm still coming into a little bit of a back bend. It's a gentle one. I've got my heels together, my knees are bent. I've got the block or the pillow for you in between the knees. It's a gentle squeeze of inside thigh. Just coming in for another round. Heels together. Lifting the arms out of the way. And then see if you can clasp. Notice I'm not coming up high. I'm going for length. I'm going for a back bend that goes from my neck all the way down to the hips. I'm not hinging at any one point. One more try. Bend the knees, heels together, switch on inner thigh. Lifting chest and shoulders until you just come into your gentle, long back bend. Take the hands under the shoulders. Gently float down the feet. Let's try that one more time. Breathing in, your gentle back bend. Breathing out, finding softness, hands under the shoulders, relaxing and gently floating the feet down. So hands under the thigh for this round. As you breathe in, see if you can lift the chest, the shoulders, tucking the chin in gently. And it might feel good to lift the heels, try to keep those legs nice and long. So you won't be coming up very high. Again, a feeling of length in the spine, length in the body. And working those very, very deep back muscles. Hands under shoulders. And gently coming back up. Back into your melting heart. Little counter pose. Toes tucked under. Hips are up high as you find a little back extension. We're about to come into our apex pose. So placing the block or the pillow just gently under the hips. Lifting up one leg at a time. While you're lifting that foot, press the toes on the other side down into the mat. Gently, you can get 2 legs up. Now I'm reinforcing this. I've got my hands down by the side of the thighs, pressing down so that I can make that lift. My other option is to bring the block down a little lower. My counter pose, coming up a little bit, and then finding where do you need that block. Remember, this is your pivot point. Think of yourself as a seesaw. One side going up and then the other, and then we basically bring up the top and the feet at the same time. I've got my hands pressed down into the ground. Now I've lifted up a little bit. 2 legs long, or if you're like me, you might need to bend one. And then coming up into an up dog. Lower down. Feet up, knees up if they make it. We're not going for height here. We're going for a long body. Maybe you might be able to straighten out your legs and come into full up dog. Let's have an active rest now, finding down dog. So fingertips forward, lift the hips, pressing your hips away from the hands. Three-legged dog, just a little gentle stretch out. Softness behind knees. You might need to bend the knee. And then try that on the other side. Stretch out a bit. Softness behind the knee. Bend the knee. And gently bring those toes down. Take the knees nice and wide. And you might have enough warmth in the joints to come into that wide, extended child's pose. Remember the options. You can come up onto the hips, have something underneath the ankles. So when you're ready, come and find a nice, comfortable seated spot. You can see I'm sitting on my block. Maybe you need a cushion or two, or maybe you don't. I'm setting myself up, wrapping the blanket around me. And I'm doing a little tip here today where I'm going to actually tuck the blanket underneath my feet. And this means that I get just a little bit of support because we are going to stay in Sukhasana, in easy cross-legged pose, for quite a few minutes. If your back feels stiff or sore, starts to ache, and you become uncomfortable, that's your little note to just find a bit more comfort, to lie down in Shavasana. If you choose to stay with me, then just find a little bit of comfort in the spine. I'm leaning forward just a little bit of a stretch on the back. A few breaths here, and you might notice my hands are forward. They're actually touching the ground, but you might have them placed on your knees or maybe on your ankles, supporting the back so that you can simply relax forward. Take a breath in, lifting up. And let's cross legs on the other side. So if you had your left foot in front, now it's the turn of the right foot. And again, you might find that tucking that blanket in or using a strap if you have one is a nice way to support the back. If you've become uncomfortable, remember Shavasana is a lovely pose in itself, just lying down on the back. Hands to your heart space. And again, getting the feel of just tipping the hips forward. This is not about the back. I've had to put my hands down. I'm just gaining a little bit more support. Working with the pelvis here. A long spine and a very gentle, subtle tip of the top of the pelvis. If it feels comfortable, and maybe relaxing the chin, relaxing the upper back. Feel free to have more support by placing the hands on the knees. Take a breath in here. And breathing out, tipping the pelvis forward. finding comfort and relaxation. And maybe just nodding the head is going to give you a sense of a lovely, comfortable stretch in the back. Breathing in, hands up and together. Breathing out, resting in heart space. So I invite you to stay in Sukhasana, or maybe to find comfort and begin to prepare yourself to lie down. Maybe Shavasana is best for you. Wherever you are, make sure that you feel warm. I've kept my blanket around me while I've laid down, and today I've decided to put my block under my head, simply because that feels okay. Maybe it feels even more relaxing to bend the knees. I get more of a sense of being able to relax the inner thighs here. And stay here for a good few breaths. Try 5 long breaths. Namaste, everyone. I'll see you next time.